You don't have to be insulting. Besides, we'll go faster once we have horses. She let out a puff of smoke. Maybe, but will it be enough to catch up to the Rozak? They have a lead of several days and many leagues, and I'm afraid they may suspect we're following them. Why else would they have destroyed the farm in such a spectacular manner, unless they wished to provoke you into chasing them? I don't know, said Aragon, disturbed. Saphira curled up beside him as he leaned against her belly, welcoming the warmth. Brahm sat on the other side of the fire, whittling 2 long sticks. He suddenly threw one at Aragon, who grabbed it at a reflex as it whirled over the crackling flames. "Defend yourself," barked Brahm, standing. Aragon looked at the stick in his hand and saw it was shaped in the crude likeness of a sword. Brahm wanted to fight him? What chance did the old man stand? If he wants to play this game, so be it, but if he thinks he can beat me, he's in for a surprise. He rose as Brahm circled the fire. They faced each other for a moment, then Brahm charged, swinging the stick. Aragon tried to block the attack, but was too slow. He yelped as Brahm struck him on the ribs and stumbled backwards. Without thinking, he lunged forward, but Brahm easily parried the blow. Aragon whipped the stick towards Brahm's head, twisted it at the last moment, and then tried to hit his side. The solid smack of wood striking wood resounded through the camp. "Improvisation. Good," exclaimed Brahm, eyes gleaming. His arm moved in a blur, and there was an explosion of pain on the back of Aragon's head. He collapsed like an empty sack, dazed. A splash of cold water roused him to alertness as he sat up, sputtering. His head was ringing, and there was dried blood on his face. Brahm stood over him with a pan of melted snow water. "You didn't have to do that," said Aragon angrily, pushing himself up. He felt dizzy and unsteady. Brahm arched an eyebrow. "Oh, a real enemy wouldn't soften his blows, and neither will I. Should I pander to your incompetence so that you'll feel better? I don't think so." He picked up the stick that Aragon had dropped and held it out. "Now, defend yourself." Aragon stared blankly at the piece of wood, and then shook his head. "Forget it. I've had enough." He turned away and stumbled as he was whacked loudly across the back. He spun around, growling. "Never turn your back on the enemy," snapped Brahm, then tossed the stick at him and attacked. Aragon retreated around the fire beneath the onslaught. "Pull your arms in. Keep your knees bent," shouted Brahm. He continued to give instructions, then paused to show Aragon exactly what he meant to execute a certain move. "Do it again, but this time slowly." They slid through the forms with exaggerated motions before returning to their furious battle. Aragon learned quickly, but no matter what he tried, he could not hold off Brahm for more than a few blows. When they finished, Aragon flopped on his blankets and groaned. He hurt everywhere. Brahm had not been gentle with his stick. Saphira let out a long, coughing growl and curled her lip, and a formidable row of teeth showed. "What's wrong with you?" he demanded irritably. "Nothing," she replied. "It's funny to see a hatchling like you beaten by the old one." She made the sound again, and Aragon turned red as he realized she was laughing. Trying to preserve some dignity, he rolled on his side and fell asleep. He felt even worse the next day. Bruises covered his arms, and he was almost too sore to move. Brahm looked up from the mush he was serving and grinned. "How do you feel?" Aragon grunted and bolted down the breakfast. Once on the road, they traveled swiftly so as to reach Therinsford by noon. After a league, the road widened and they saw smoke in the distance. "You better tell Saphira to fly ahead and wait for us on the other side of Therinsford," said Brahm. "She has to be careful here, otherwise people are bound to notice her." "Why don't you tell her that yourself?" challenged Aragon. "It's considered bad manners to interfere with another's dragon." "You didn't have a problem with it in Carvajal." Brahm's lips twitched with a smile. "I did what I had to do." Aragon eyed him darkly, then relayed the instructions. Saphira warned, "Be careful. The Empire's servants could be hiding anywhere." As the ruts in the road deepened, Aragon noticed more footprints. Farms signaled their approach to Therinsford. The village was larger than Carvajal, but had been constructed haphazardly, the houses aligned in no particular order. "What a mess," said Aragon. He could not see Dempton's mill. Baldur and Albrecht must have surely fetched Roran by now. Either way, Aragon had no wish to face his cousin. "It's ugly, if nothing else," agreed Brahm. The Enora River flowed between them and the town, spanned out by a stout bridge. As they approached it, a greasy man stepped from behind a bush and barred their way. His shirt was too short, and his dirty stomach spilled over the rope belt. Behind his cracked lips, his teeth looked like crumbling tombstones. "You can stop right there. This is my bridge. Gotta pay to get over." "How much?" asked Brom in a resigned voice. He pulled out a pouch, and the bridge-keeper brightened. "5 crowns," he said, pulling his lips into a broad smile. Aragon's temper flared at the exorbitant price, and he started to complain hotly, but Brom silenced him with a quick look. The coins were wordlessly handed over. The man put them into a sack hanging from his belt. "Thank ye much," he said in a mocking tone, and stood out of the way. As Brom stepped forward, he stumbled and caught the bridge-keeper's arm to support himself. "Watch your step," snarled the grimy man, sliding away. "Sorry," apologized Brom, and continued over the bridge with Aragon.